Dear student, today we are discussing about the respiration. In the earlier chapter, we have seen about photosynthesis. Today we'll discuss the new topic, that is the respiration. In this chapter, we are going to study about how to plant Today we'll discuss about the most important chapter, that is the respiration. In this respiration chapter, we'll discuss different points, including how to plant respire or perform breathing. Second point is energy currency, that is the structure and function of the ATP. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration will study about glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system. Anaerobic respiration will interact with the fermentation process. Last but one point, the respiratory balance sheet, that is the number of ATPs produced in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. And last point, we'll discuss about the respiratory quotient. Then first point is, we'll discuss about, do the plant breathe? Before studying this point, we should know about what is meant by respiration. The most important process that produces the energy in all living organisms, it is the respiration. What is meant by energy? Energy is the capacity to work, is called the energy. This energy is available in the form of food. The food contains different types of nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins, and the lipids. And from these substances, our body produces the energy. The basic process of the energy, the basic process that provides energy to all the living beings is the photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, the light energy is converted into chemical energy, and it's called light reaction. And this photosynthetic product, this photo light reaction, it undergo the dark reaction, form the carbohydrates. And these carbohydrates, they are make available to the heterotrophic groups of animals, bacteria, different groups of organisms, parasites. And then these carbohydrates, they are utilized by these organisms and release carbon dioxide and H2O for further photosynthetic reaction. This is the cyclic risk. It is the cycle between respiration and utilization of respiratory product in the form of carbohydrate for the energy production by the heterotrophs. Now the basic process is the photosynthesis that feeds all the ecosystem. In all the trophic levels of ecosystem, the flow of energy is unidirectional, and it always starts from the autotrophic plants. And the energy one by one, that by the 10% law, the energy is getting decreased from producers towards the higher consumer. The basic process in the life cycle, in the flow of energy of all the trophic level is the photosynthesis. Now, what is by respiration? During respiration, the carbon-carbon bonding present in organic compound is breaks down and release the energy. It is called respiration. The main aim, basic aim, concept of the respiration is the synthesis of energy. Now, this is the equation for aerobic respiration. In this aerobic respiration, the molecule of the glucose is oxidized into carbon dioxide and water and release energy. And these energies conserved in the form of metabolic energy, that is ATP. Now, for this aerobic respiration, mitochondria, it is the most important powerhouse of the cell, is required. What about the rest? This respiration, the different types of respiratory substrates are utilized for the synthesis of energy. The main substrate for respiration is carbohydrate in the form of glucose, while the proteins and fats are also utilized during respiration. Now, Do the plant breathe and produce energy? Yes. The plant, they breathe the energy. They breathe, they perform the breathing, they perform the exchange of gases, and they produce the energy as well. During the light reaction of photosynthesis, the energy is produced. Large amount of energy is produced and consumed in the form of ATP. Now, the main basic process of autotrophs for the production of energy is the photosynthesis. But what about heterotrophs and other organisms? Respiration is the process for energy production in all heterotrophs. Now, do the plant breathe? Yes. It is the common question, quite common question, whether the plant breathe or not. Yes, the plant breathe. No doubt, the leaf is the part of the plant that produces the large amount of energy by using the light in the form of ATP by the light reaction. In the different parts of plant like the root and the stem cells, they perform the exchange of gases. They utilize the oxygen and perform respiration for production of the energy. But this production of energy is very much lesser as compared to the light reaction. Production of energy in light reaction, it is tremendous one, while the production of energy or ATP by respiration is lesser in case of autotrophs. Now, how do plants breathe and produce energy? Plants perform breathing by the exchange of gases from their surfaces, their different organs like root, stem. The plant bear the stomata, nematophores, and the lenticels. Nematophores are the structures that perform exchange of gases in mangroves. Stomata, they aptly perform the respiration. We call it as the photorespiration. And lenticels, they perform the exchange of gases. In this way, these are the three parts of the plant that perform breathing, exchange of gases. Now the question is, why the plant can exchange gases without respiratory organ? In case of animals, they have the breathing organs. Like vertebrates, they have the lungs as their breathing organ. But what about the plants? Plants, they do not have their respiratory or breathing organ. Then how they perform the exchange of gases? Okay, why the plant can exchange gases without respiratory organ? No doubt, as compared to the animals, the plant require lesser energy for respiratory purpose. Why and how this exchange of gases is carried out in the absence of respiratory organ or breathing organ? There are three main points that give the answer to this question. The first one point, each plant part take care of their own gases exchange. The root of the plants, it performs its own exchange of gases for performing the breathing, for performing the respiration. No any other part of the plant that provide the oxygen to the root. Root itself, it performs the exchange of gases for respiration purpose. The leaf itself performs the exchange of gases. The lenticels present in the stem, they perform the exchange of gases. Every part of the plant, they perform their own exchange of gases. No need of energy, no need of any of the other breathing organ required. The second one is the amount of energy required for the plant is lesser than the animals. There is a low demand of energy in plants. Why? Because they do not perform the locomotion like animals do. Okay, for locomotion, animals, they expend large amount of energy in locomotion in their daily activities. But the plant, they do not perform locomotion. Therefore, they do not require the great demands of, yes, they do not require the great demand of energy. Therefore, the exchange of gases up to the organ, different organ is restricted. No any particular breathing organ is present in plant. Third one is most important one. In case of plant, as the different parts of plant, they own perform their gases exchange as per their needs. Therefore, for the exchange of gases, The traveling of the oxygen or the traveling of the gases is does not require. In case of animal, the circulatory system, it carry the respiratory gases to each and every parts of the body. But such case is not present in case of. These are the three parts. Due to these three important points, in case of plant, the breathing organ does not require. Right? Next one is, now this one is the equation of the aerobic respiration. Okay? Then this respiration point was coined by Chat. Malfigi, he has studied the respiratory process during seed germination. I told you is during the seed germination, the tremendous amount of aerobic respiration is carried out for energy production, because during seed germination the mitotic activity is far much greater one. Therefore, they require more and more energy, and for this purpose, aerobic respiration is carried out. Pasteur performed the anaerobic respiration studied in in yeast. There's in this slide, we'll study about the type of respiration. We'll study the two different phases of types of respiration. First one, it is based on respiratory substrate. On the basis of respiratory substrate, there are two important types of respiration. That is the floating respiration and protoplasmic respiration. Floating respiration is the type of respiration in which the starvation process utilizes the sugar and the fat present inside the cytoplasm of the cell. It is called floating respiration. While protoplasmic respiration, the prolonged fast. The body of the organism, it starts to utilize the protein, the structural unit of the cell. It is called protoplasmic respiration. If the protoplasmic respiration takes place for a long duration of time, the body becomes weaker and weaker, cells get tired. Then, in case of this floating respiration here, as I told you, glucose, the main sugar, and different fatty acids, they are broken down to produce the ATP. Now, in the slide, you can see the protein, the intracellular protein, or the dietary proteins, they are broken down into the amino acids. And these amino acids, the amino group of amino acid, it is excreted outside the body in the form of urea, okay, through the urine. The carbon skeleton present in amino acid, it enters into the Krebs cycle, that is the citric acid cycle, for producing ATP and release CO2 and H2. We'll study about this process, right? The second measurement for respiration is based on availability of oxygen. There are two important types of respiration: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is the complete oxidation of the organic sugar, organic compound, into CO2 and H2O. The complete oxidation means the number of carbon present in organic compound is totally converted into carbon dioxide. Okay. That is, in this case, you can see the number of carbon present here is 6, and the number of carbon dioxide evolved from the sugar is also 6. Means the number of carbon present in organic compound, the number of carbon present in organic compound is equal to the number of carbon dioxide. It is called the complete oxidation. What about anaerobic respiration? During anaerobic respiration, in the absence of oxygen, the organic compound is partially broken down and release less CO2. Less CO2. That is called incomplete oxidation. Then the examples of aerobic respiration are plants and animals. Different plants and animals. Then Tania solium, the flatworm, the roundworm Ascaris lumbricoids, the fungi, yeast, RBC of vertebrates, Bacillus subtilis, and the muscle cells, they perform anaerobic respiration. These are the examples of anaerobic respiration. Now, During aerobic respiration, the amount of energy released is about 8 to 19 times greater than in anaerobic respiration. Here, you can see the glucose in aerobic respiration, it undergoes three different processes: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system, and produces the energy and release carbon dioxide. But in anaerobic respiration, glucose undergoes glycolysis, and in after this glycolysis, this glucose is converted into any other organic compound and release less carbon dioxide and less energy than aerobic respiration. Then see here you can see the common pathway for aerobic and anaerobic respirations here. In both the type of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic, start from the glucose here. From this glucose, here first step is the glycolysis process. Then the second step is the Krebs cycle. And after Krebs cycle, the third step is complete oxidation here in electron transport system and produce CO2 and H2O. Is the complete the number of carbon present in glucose is totally converted into 6 carbon dioxide. That is the complete oxidation, complete breaking down. While in anaerobic respiration, glucose is partially broken down into any other organic compound like different acid, butyric acid, lactic acid, or alcohol, ethanol. And this process is called the fermentation. Fermentation. Now, in our topic, we are studying about the aerobic respiration. The first part of this chapter, important part of this chapter is aerobic respiration. Later on, we'll discuss about anaerobic respiration. As I told you earlier, aerobic respiration, it completes in three important steps: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system. During glycolysis and link reaction, the NADH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, it is produced during glycolysis and link reaction, and when this NADH it undergo the oxidation to the electron transport system, it produces the energy. The Krebs cycle, it produces NADH and FADH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide hydrate, flavin adenine dinucleotide hydrates. These are the two different powers, asymmetry powers, we can say. They are produced in Krebs cycle, and these NADH and FADH, they undergo the oxidation through the electron transport system and produce ATP. NADH and FADH, when they undergo electron transport system, they produce the ATP that we are going to study later. Now, before going to start the aerobic respiration, we should know about the structure and function of ATP. ATP, the adenosine triphosphate. This ATP was discovered by Carl Lohmann, and the metabolic energetic nature of ATP was given by Lippmann. This ATP is, we can call as the ribonucleoside triphosphate. Now, this ribonucleoside triphosphate is consists of ribose sugar, then adenine, that is the purine derivative, and phosphate. The ribose sugar, the first carbon of ribose sugar is binds by the glycosidic bond with the N9 of adenine. The fifth carbon of ribose sugar, it binds with the phosphate, the alpha phosphate, beta phosphate, and gamma phosphate. See here, you can see. Now, in this case, ribonucleoside triphosphate is consists of three different units or structure: ribose sugar, the purine derivative adenine, and the phosphate. Ribose sugar, it is the 5-carbon sugar. This ribose sugar, it forms the glycosidic bond with N9 of adenine. N9 of adenine. Then these binding form nucleoside. Ribose plus adenine, they binds with the glycosidic bond and it is called adenosine. We call it as the it is called the nucleoside. When this phosphate binds with the fifth carbon by diester bond, it is called, we call it as the nucleotide. These nucleoside, ribose plus adenine form nucleoside. When these nucleoside binded with phosphate, it form nucleotide. Therefore, we call ATP as ribonucleoside triphosphate as it contains three different phosphates. These three different phosphates, they show the high energy bond, phosphate bond. Okay, here three different phosphate bonds are present. With the help of gamma phosphate bond, phosphate is attached with the fifth carbon of ribose sugar. Then alpha, beta, and gamma, these are the three different phosphate bonds. Here, each of these phosphate bonds, they conserve the energy. The metabolic energy that produced by ATP is released due to the breaking of these phosphate bonds. These phosphate bonds are high energetic bonds. In any metabolic processes, this ATP, it provides the metabolic energy. Whenever this terminal phosphate, that is alpha phosphate bond, if it is broken down, it produces about 7.3 kilocalorie energy. Now it is 7.6. When the beta phosphate bond is broken down, it produces again the 7.3 kilocalorie of energy. When the gamma phosphate broken down, it produces the 3.4 kilocalorie energy. In this way, the one ATP molecule, it releases near about 18 kilocalorie energy. 18 kilocalorie energy produced by ATP. Now, in many reactions, in many metabolic processes, it is the terminal phosphate that broken down and their release energy is used for different metabolic processes. In many metabolic processes, the terminal phosphate bond, that is alpha phosphate bond, is broken down and their release energy is used for different metabolic process. Now in this way, therefore we call this ATP as the energy currency of the cell. This bonding, phosphate bond, broken, this three different phosphate, whenever they broken down, they release the free energy. About 18 kilocalorie energy is released by the broken down of the three phosphate bonds of ATP. Therefore, we call ATP as the powerhouse, the energy currency of the cell. And this release energy is used for different metabolic process. Now see here, this equation, we are again taking this equation. In this equation, you can see this is the equation for aerobic respiration. Here, the glucose molecule, it undergoes the complete oxidation and release the same carbon dioxide, number 6 carbon dioxide. And after complete oxidation, it produces about 36 to 38 ATPs. These 30 ADP, they produce near about 686 kilocalorie energy. Okay. If we consider 18 into, if we consider one ATP contain 18 kilocalorie energy, if we multiply, okay, then 38 into 18, 18, at that time, the energy produced is 684. Okay. The measurable energy is 686 kilocalorie energy we considering here. Now, here, one important point. In this case, you can see 38 ATPs produced in oxidation. It contains 686 kilocalorie of energy. But As I told you earlier, the terminal phosphate, okay, the terminal phosphate is used in major metabolic process. Therefore, if we multiply these 38 into 7.3, then the efficient available energy for 38 ATP is 277.4 kilocalorie. If we calculate the percentage efficiency of aerobic respiration, we will get the one glucose molecule, it produces 277.4 kilocalorie efficient availability of the energy, and its energy efficiency percentage, it is varies between 40 to 45%. Therefore, we can say that the energy efficiency of one glucose molecule in aerobic respiration is 45% only. Here, we stop the lecture. Tomorrow onwards, we'll study about the aerobic respiration and the different three important processes that comprise in aerobic respiration, that is glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system. Thank you.